Hey guys, let's take a look at the fractals again real quick here from the Nile as compared to the Orion Nebula. I've done some more mapping and I've expanded it out beyond this Nile Delta area right here. But just to kind of do a little quick review, I want to show you a couple of the key markers that I use in order to line the Orion Nebula up. Is I use this little peg right here. If you see this little pink peg coming out of here, because there's a really distinct place, as you can see on this map, which is right here, I can actually line it up very easily and everything else just falls into place. And so that is what I use. I use this piece right here, and this is what you're looking at. You're looking at the Nile Delta area, which is this right here. And as you've seen, I've basically gone down to high detail. You can even see how this piece of this area right here is even fractal all the way down. You can still see the same V shape that you see down here all the way through, as well as Manzala Lake, which is what this is right here, carried all the way through. So let me just show you a couple other pictures here. Okay, you've seen that one. This is my marker that I use, that I was just showing you. If I line this up correctly, everything else falls into place. Unfortunately, I only have so big of a screen on my computer, and so I can't look at everything in this detail that I want to be able to see. I mean, I want to have a graphic that's like, 30 or 40,000 by 40,000, but I just can't do that because I can't get down to that level on Google Earth. And still see the recent development, so I have to take chunks out. So what I did this time was I actually just used this as a marker, so it ends up being really small, but I use it as a marker to map the Nile area of Egypt, Israel, and Jordan area. Okay, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second. Let me make sure I've shown you everything here. Let me just show you this one more thing. These are highly detailed graphics. These are matches, or maps, you might say, that maps the Orion Nebula to land on Earth. And this goes down to a very high detail. As you can see, what I've done right here is I've taken a whole picture, just for those of you who don't know what I'm doing. I take the original of the Nile area, and the original, this is the center area of the Orion Nebula. I'm sure most of you know what the Orion Nebula is. This is our closest star nebula to the Earth, located in the Orion constellation. It's right inside the triangle of Rigel, Alnitak, and Siph, which is the center of the three hearthstones in the Mayan myth. And as you find through history, the Orion Nebula is where the Gnostics were looking to for the Atom Kadmon, which is our collective soul. And this center trapezium area turns out to be Osiris. Okay, so what this is showing, and even in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, that Osiris, which is actually Asar in Egypt, was governor of Busiris, and Busiris is actually right in the center of the trapezium area I was just showing you in the Orion Nebula right here. So I take the original graphic, put it on one side. I take the Orion Nebula graphic, I put it on the other side, and then I just take the Orion Nebula and I put it on this square, and I decrease the transparency by about 20% each time until it gets to the original. And then what that allows us to do is it allows us to follow our eyes along. You can see how this kind of goes around and has a couple spikes. It does the same thing all the way through. This is a really good one right here because it shows you this. It almost looks like a plane wing or a jet, and you can see that followed all the way through. And this is recent development, folks, which means that time is irrelevant, obviously. This right here is a really good one because it shows where the Nile separates right here all the way through in the same place. You can see it right here as well. Okay, there it is all the way through. Now, this is just the trapezium area of the Orion Nebula. This is just the Nile Delta. This is the very most important part that we need to be focusing on, is the Orion Nebula, and for whatever reason, the Nile Delta. Okay. Now, let's take a look at how far I was able to get this to be expanded out. Okay. This right here is pretty much almost the whole Orion Nebula right here. And what it seems to consist of is Egypt, Israel, and the Jordan area. Okay? Because when I do the map, what you see right here, let's go right up here at the top here, okay? This area right here, it looks kind of like a triangle, all right? That's Jordan. This is Israel. Well, excuse me, this is Israel right here, okay? And here's what you notice first off. So what I did was I took this area right here, I drew a rectangle around it, okay, and chopped it, and then magnified. And then let's take a look what we got right here. So this triangular area right here of Jordan follows all the way through in this graphic all the way till you get to the original. So this is Jordan right here, this triangular area that you see right here, and it matches this triangular area right here. Let's just take a look at that real quick so you can actually see that. You can see that the triangular area right here follows the land right here all the way through. And all these are sectioned out pieces of the larger graphic. Okay? They aren't grabbed at random. Once I use this piece right here that I was showing you earlier to plug everything else falls into place. Okay? So now what I've done right here is there's a red line to show you what I have zoomed in on. So I've taken even a smaller section of this area, which is this area right here, okay, and I've pointed in relation to it. Now here's the interesting thing about it, see? You can see that the lines that are made from this part that stands out more carries all the way through to this greenish white area that you see right here on the Orion Nebula side. So you can see how fractal this is all the way through. What I went ahead and did just for the sake of making it look complete. So all this right here, this is Jordan. Right where this bird sits, the middle of this bird, where his body area or whatever is the center of Jordan, and Israel is just to the left of it. So this is where Israel is. This is where Jordan is right here. And so I went ahead and mapped the Nile as well. As you can see, you can still see the same things where they were in the really large graphic I showed you that's a high resolution. And this is what I used to plug everything, was this little peg that you see right here. This little peg is what allowed me to stick the whole map, and everything else falls into place. And then down here we have Manzala Lake. You can see how the contours of the land follow the same thing all the way through. And the patch of where Manzala Lake is right here. It also follows all the way through right here, and you have, which is Manzala Lake. So over here we have Cairo. This is right here is Cairo. We have the Nile Delta, which is Busaris, which is where Osiris rules or governs, which is the center of our head. And then we have the Suez Canal, and you can see that follows all the way through as well. The easiest thing to capture on that is just look at this darker area right here, and you can see that it follows all the way through right here. This is the Suez. Okay, so I wanted to show this to you because it looks like, for whatever reason, that the Orion Nebula is mapping to the Egypt Nile area, Israel, and the Jordan area mostly. Down here, what I did is, because of the chakra system, I decided to go ahead and map all the way down, but I didn't see, even though I can see some things that look similar, what I try to do is I try to pull out the obvious ones for you guys. Otherwise, you're just looking at what may be obvious to me may not be so obvious to you. So that's what I'm trying to do here. But I wanted to show you, I mean, this one right here is really good. It just falls right into place with this triangular piece of dark land right here. And what you see here, the lines of it and everything are just fall right into place. And you have to remember that we're looking at we're looking at this graphic. I've shown you a lot of stuff, all the way down to very, very high detail, right? And you can see what's happening here. See, the Nile is coming right out of the tip of the center of this trapezium area, and it's just streaming all the way down to the center of the Orion Nebula. So, very, very interesting. Of course, I'm going to put the link to my Facebook so that you can, and you don't have to have Facebook in order to download. I'm going to put a public link to my folder. Please go out and download and share these if you like. Once again, I don't care what you do with them as long as you don't try to remarket them or sell them or anything. This information is for everyone. So you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon.